Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another half-blind commentary. I'm Steve Baxey, and with me today I've got...
I'm Eric.
Okay, so Eric and I did Vampire Hunter D, which came out in 1985. We did a commentary on that a couple weeks ago now, where I hadn't seen it and Eric did, so Eric was walking me through it as we were watching it, and we agreed to do both movies. So this is now the second one, which came out in, I think, 2000?
It came out here in 2001. We got it first.
Okay, gotcha. Well, this one's called Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust, and we'll go ahead and get started right away. So go ahead and have your DVDs all set up. Eric, is there anything you want to mention before we hit play?
I just want at the top, I talked about possibly rereading the book before we got to this. I did not get to reread it, so it's going to be much like in the book. It's like this, just hazy recollections from when I was like 14.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, well, I saw the first 3 books on Amazon. I was thinking about buying them because they're all really cheap, but that'll come eventually.
Yeah.
So if you have this movie, go ahead and get it rigged up to timestamp 0. It's probably on YouTube or some other websites. This is one of those things that's always online and no one seems to want to take it down. But go ahead and set it at 0, and on the count of 3, go ahead and press play. 1, 2, 3. We got a really dramatic full moon shot right away.
Well, the first one opened with that too. The first one opened with the moon and a castle. This is more elaborate.
Oh, that's true. Well, this is so much more dramatic. I don't know why. I guess it's because like the scale is a little bit different, where like every little thing's coming at you.
Yeah, it's Kawajiri. Kawajiri is the director. Almost every movie he's made is based on a Kikuchi book in some way. Except for probably the thing he's most famous for, which is Ninja Scroll.
Oh, okay, that's the Ninja Scroll guy. Okay,
yeah.
I guess that makes sense then.
So this is much like the first one, as I've said in the books. Nobody knows the weaknesses of vampires, so the fact that this town is covered in crosses, it bugs a little bit.
It's a little bit weird. I mean, it looks cool.
It looks really cool.
This movie instantly looks a lot better. I didn't realize the animation was this much better.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons people like this one so much. It's a gorgeous film. All of Kawajiri's films are really beautiful.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. That dog, like going from like anger to like cowering in the corner, that looked fantastic.
Yeah, it's a really pretty movie.
It's so atmospheric too, just like the first one. But I guess this one's more gothic than the first one was. The first one was more Western.
Yeah, well, and the first one was more just weird. Yeah. I mean, this has lots of weird stuff, as you will see, but it's more distinct gothic. The creator, Hideaki Kikuchi, the creator of D, says that he likes this film much better and it represents like how he sees the world when he writes about it in his head more.
Right.
I don't know. I like the visual style of the first one a little bit better. I just think it's more unique. But this one, I mean, it's a beautiful film.
We talked about how the first one felt a lot like Andy Tarkovsky was influenced by it. This feels like something Guillermo del Toro would be influenced by.
I don't know about influenced by. I'm sure he's seen this film. I'm sure he likes this film.
Probably, yeah. I mean, if anyone was going to make a Vampire Hunter D movie, I guess that would be the guy then.
Yeah.
A live action one, that is.
Yeah, he could actually probably do a really good one.
So you said last time that this is based on the third book for some reason?
Yeah, this is based on the third book. I assume that they just like the story.
I guess that makes sense. Like you said, like they're all kind of standalone.
Yeah. Well, I said they did another one would be on like 6 or 7.
Gotcha.
So it's just whichever stories they tend to like.
Gotcha.
And there's a little bit of changes to this to make it a little bit more unique. There's definitely some stuff I remember from the book that's different. And the first one's kind of Shane, this one's kind of the Searchers.
Right. Well, that's cool.
This opening always reminds me a lot of Trigun.
Yeah, it looks exactly like Trigun.
Yeah, well, it's a higher budget than Trigun ever had, but...
Trigun looked pretty good for its budget, though.
No, and it looked good for its time. And then this is a theatrical film. I'm not dissing Trigun. I
No,
love
Trigun's
Trigun.
amazing.
But it's...
This is... Sorry, go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say, it's that kind of, like, futuristic Western, everything's run down kind of a thing.
Yeah. Oh, you were right about his sword looking really cool in the second one, too.
Yeah. Well, and they like, really settle on a design.
It's weird that this franchise, or this series of books didn't get, like, a James Bond treatment where we just keep adapting books randomly and keep going with movies.
Yeah, especially since, from what I understand, like, it's one of the things that they say, and I don't know if it's just to sell things, and because I'm a stupid American, I don't actually know, because I live in Japan. But from what I understand, Kikuchi's books sell like crazy. Like, he's, again, according to, like, material I read, he's the king of Japan. Everyone reads Kikuchi books. So, at least surprising that there are not more adaptations of D.
Your audio's cutting in a little bit in and out, but I think I got the gist of what you were saying about, like, his books selling a lot.
Well, he's, from what I understand, they compare him to, like, Stephen King. He's like the Stephen King of Japan.
That makes sense. Okay, that's interesting. I want to mention just instantly the voice acting is a lot better.
Yeah. There's one voice I don't like. I'll get to her. I don't know if I really don't like her, but just because, like, I recognize her voice. I feel like she overacts a little bit.
Oh, okay. You're right about, like, just how standalone D rolls into a town, movie gets going kind of thing this is. It's cool that you don't need any previous knowledge whatsoever. This is just a movie you can put in.
Yeah, you can watch this without watching the first one, no problem.
It's also just got, like, really clear connections to a lot of other anime and just films I've seen already, so it feels like something I've already known for a while.
There's a lot of stuff in this, specifically near the end, that there's no way that you're not influenced by Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Right.
Francis Ford Coppola. Francis Ford Coppola.
Francis Ford Coppola?
Yeah. Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula is clearly a big influence on this film.
I like that movie. I know a lot of people hate it, but I actually kind of like that movie.
I like that movie too. I get an impression, just based on influence, that was bigger in Japan. Because Hellsing is also very clearly very inspired by that film.
Yeah, that's a good point. I never thought of that. That's one of those films, though, I feel like in America was probably really well received initially and then very slowly died out.
I think it got kind of a mixed reception.
I know everyone hated Keanu Reeves in that movie. Or Keanu Reeves in that movie because he was...
Those people are wrong, sir. He is wonderful. Wolves have a night. He's great. He's so good in that movie. No, he's not. I love him.
Gary Oldman's fantastic in that movie.
He's great, and so is Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, Anthony Hopkins great as Van Helsing.
It has the two of them.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, visually, it's a great movie.
Yeah. That's a film that's all about atmosphere and visuals.
Yeah.
There are certainly things that don't make sense in that movie, or are very vague.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of those things where, like, clearly you want to adapt the book as literally as possible based on the title, but they cut a lot of important stuff here and there.
Well, and they added the whole love story thing.
Yeah, I wasn't crazy about that.
But this is interesting. Our kind of secondary characters. It's a band like me.
You're still cutting in and out a little bit.
I am.
Hoping that I'm kind of hoping that as long as this keeps going, that starts fixing itself.
Yeah, we usually don't have problems like this.
Well, you're good now. See, like it's weird. Like every other time you speak, it's bad. I don't know what's up with that. This is instantly really, really cool, just like the first one.
Yeah. Well, they're gonna do something here in a second that I think is really cool, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was an influence on Blade and Blade 2. Well, I guess it would have to be Blade 2 because it would have come out before. It would have come out after Blade.
Yeah, Blade was 99, wasn't it?
Yeah, it might be 98.
Was it 98? Wow. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's a really cool way to fight vampires.
That's so cool. How come I've never seen that before?
That truck looks like a shoe.
In my head, I was thinking Dark Knight Returns Batmobile, which you're right, it does look kind of like a shoe. This is. I don't know what's going on right now, but this is cool.
Well, I like that they build up the characters. Like, you don't really see them; you're just seeing like little itty bitty glimpses of them and stuff.
I can see why people prefer this instantly. I mean, I like the first one a lot as well, but I this one's instantly just got a different energy to it.
Yeah, well, it's Kawajiri. Kawajiri makes really fast, cool movies.
Yeah. Wow. This is fun. And again, voice acting's better. So, when we were talking before, you said like this was made in America first, right?
I don't know. It was. I mean, it's clearly made in Japan. I don't know if there was some American financing.
Right.
We had to have been involved in some way
Right.
because it was released with an English dub first. There, like this is the one film that people can't be snobby about the dub because it was made with the American dub, and it was even in Japan originally released with an American dub with Japanese subtitles.
That's interesting. I've never heard of a case like that before.
Yeah, even the Marvel animes didn't get released like that. We had to wait like
Yeah.
2 years to get those.
And they weren't worth it, but yeah. All of these character designs are awesome.
Yeah,
I don't know who this is with the red and black armor, but it just looks awesome.
yeah, she's the one whose voice acting I don't love. Um, let me look here. She's Wendy Lee.
Wendy Lee. I
Um,
feel like I've heard of that.
she's in a lot of things. Oh wait, no, is that who that is? No. Sorry. Wendy Lee is Charlotte, who's the girl. What?
The girl that got kidnapped initially?
Yeah. Wendy Lee is Faye. Um, Pamela Adlon is Layla. Um,
And Layla's the red outfit, blonde hair girl.
yeah.
Okay.
Um, I know her best from Californication. She's also in Louie.
Oh, cool. I like both of those shows.
She's in Californication. She's what's his name's friend's on again, off again wife.
Um, what's your name? I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about. Yeah.
Runkle's wife, and then she's like Louis' friend that like he kind of has a thing for.
Gotcha. Okay, that's cool.
And she's Bobby Hill. I just think she kind of overacts and kind of chews the scenery a little bit in this movie.
Okay, well, she hasn't spoken yet, but I guess we'll see in a minute. D catching that arrow is the most cliche but awesomest thing ever.
It's just shot really well.
I mean, I've seen that a million times, but it looks so cool.
If I remember correctly, I believe the book is largely told from their viewpoint as opposed to from Dee's viewpoint.
I could see that. That makes sense.
They're a lot more horrible than you're going to see in this in the book. Like they're kind of likable in this. They're None of them are likable in the book, except for Leela.
This is kind of reminding me of. Do you remember when Gunn was first introduced in Angel and he had like his whole crew of vampire hunters?
Yeah.
That were unnecessarily brutal. Like they kind of remind me of that.
I was reminded of them in Force Awakens when we see the Knights of Ren, and they're all standing around. There's like the guy with the big sword, and it's that kind of thing. Or any group of villains in Rurouni Kenshin.
Yeah. I love Rurouni Kenshin, but it reused a lot of quirks.
Yeah.
The fact that this guy just paints a cross on his face is the coolest thing ever. I don't know what it is. There's just so much cool visual stuff in here. I kind of enjoy designs. Yeah.
I like this little one-wheel motorcycle.
That's really cool.
Well, I guess it would be a unicycle. We have a word for that. I didn't have to say one-word motorcycle. Or would it be a motor unicycle?
I guess it would have to be.
A
Because bicycle, unicycle, we don't call motorcycles bicycles.
Yeah.
And I don't think motorcycles are a category of bicycle either, so it would have to be like a motor unicycle. It's like that question of, is a hot dog a sandwich?
No. No. It's clearly not a sandwich.
There was actually research done about this, and apparently it's not whether a hot dog's a type of sandwich, it's whether a sandwich is a type of hot dog, because hot dogs came first.
Oh.
I had no idea. I just read that recently. I'm like, that's insane.
No, to me, a sandwich, it's bread, something, bread. A hot dog is something put on bread. It's not the same. It's not the same.
No, I agree with you. I think it's a weird question, but it's actually a legitimate question people seek the answer to.
I'm sure there will be thousands of comments telling us that we're wrong and that a hot dog is a sandwich.
Probably. I don't know. I didn't know people had a dog in this fight until just recently. These are so cool. What, like desert manatees?
Yeah.
That is so cool.
I like the voice actor for the hand a little bit more in this, for Dee's left hand.
Oh yeah. I forgot what he sounded like in the first one. He was kind of like squeaky and annoying.
Yeah, it's kind of similar, but I just think the voice actor here has a little bit more personality. And Dee still has that little thing on his hat you asked me about, that just circle thing.
I don't know what's up with that. In the first one, it looked like it was a weird like gadget. In this one, it just looks like it's a decorative belt piece or something.
Yeah, which I think is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I mean, it looks more like a Puritan hat, which I guess might be the intent. Dee looks really cool in this movie. I mean, he's got kind of the standard early 2000s all black thing going, but it works in this movie's
aesthetic. He had that in the 80s in the books.
Oh, that's true.
The question really is, why didn't he in the first one? Why did they go with blue with triangles? Because this is what he looks like on the covers of the books.
Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Well, I mean, not exactly like this, but like he's clearly wearing all black and things. This is really weird and cool, and I don't know how anybody ever thought of this.
That is cool. I'm having a hard time, like, forming a coherent thought. This is just fun to watch.
I love the idea of, like, shooting out seeds so that sensors will go at those and not you. I don't know.
Yeah, it's cool. It's clever. Again, this feels like a Samurai Jack thing in places.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. And I don't know Samurai Jack. No, Samurai Jack was 2004, I think.
Yeah, so this also could have been an influence on Samurai Jack.
Yeah. No, that would make sense. Well, at this point, Tarkovsky's probably still doing, like,
Dexter's
Power Patrols and Dexters and stuff like that. So he would just have time to watch stuff like this. Okay. I love how this whole thing is animated with, like, the sky reflecting on the solid object.
Yeah.
It looks like it's almost live action in places.
Yeah, it looks really good.
I'm digging this. It feels like what a Michael Bay movie should do to me, which is like stop thinking and just enjoy how much pure fun you can get out of the visuals.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like there's been a lot of dialogue thus far.
No.
And like half the dialogue is probably just like people bantering, like Dee's left hand or the bounty hunters bickering with each other.
Yeah. No, I'm digging this.
But that's also
there's a little
very
bit of
Western.
Akira, that motorcycle thing. Oh, she just spoke. Okay. I kind of recognize her now.
Yeah, well, and it's weird because I know her from this, and she's done a couple other voices, and I knew her more as a voice actor, so when I watched Californication, I was like, she sounds really familiar.
Some of her, like, screams a second ago, you're right, did feel a little bit overacty.
Yeah, she just kind of has... She's not terrible. Okay, this is
she's nowhere near as bad as some of the characters in the first one were.
It just looks really cool. I love the way this whole, tunnel is lit and how this whole scene takes place. It's
Oh, yeah.
It's what I think they were trying to do in Gotham Knights in the fight with Deadpool.
Oh,
Or not
or
Deadpool,
Deadshot,
Deadshot,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what this is. You're right.
Which I think that short might have been done by Kawajiri. I might be wrong.
I know there were a lot of like anime name brands on that DVD, but it didn't help any of the stories.
Yeah.
Like Madhouse did one, and it was still pretty
Well,
bad.
and Kawajiri's kind of Mr. Madhouse.
Yeah, he might have done Deadshot one.
He
Well,
did. He did, in fact, do, or it says director uncredited.
oh, so I guess he just consulted or something.
Yeah, but he worked on the Deadshot one, which is why I love how all this looks.
It looks so good. See, stuff like this makes me wonder, or it perfectly explains why things like Gotham Knight and the Marvel anime exist, and it makes me wonder now in retrospect why they can't be as good as this.
Yeah. Well, and
Like, what's stopping like Batman from taking this scene and doing something cool with it?
I don't know. What?
Like, that's insane.
Well, and this is very westerny. We're not doing a lot of dialogue. Um,
Yeah,
and I feel like superheroes are more talking.
they can be. I mean, you could do a lot with just Batman hanging around not speaking.
Yeah. That was a real long tunnel. It's nighttime now.
It looks really nice as the night sky.
Yeah.
Jeez, there's so much of this. Like, all I want to talk about is like how almost painting like all these shots are.
Yeah. Well, and it's anime films always look really good. Like anime sometimes gets even the best looking animes. They take shortcuts, animation shortcuts. They reuse footage, or there's that classic thing of, I'm not going to move except for my mouth so that we don't have to animate this scene. And anime movies generally don't do that.
No, that's true. And I mean, even in fight scenes and stuff in standard anime you watch, there are points where like bodies become weird amorphous objects and you can't track them frame to frame.
Yeah.
And this movie's definitely not doing that. I'm surprised at just how detailed everything is staying despite action scenes.
Yeah, Kawajiri tends to do that. I mean, I don't love the Highlander movie, which is maybe, I don't know, maybe that's a point to the whole like Batman Marvel thing. Like this director did a Highlander movie and it wasn't that good.
I like that Highlander movie. You're talking about the Highlander anime, right?
Yeah,
I like the Highlander
it's
anime.
fine. I guess it's better than the Marvel animes and Gotham Knights. It's not.
I guess the big point for that though is every movie is so bad aside from the first one.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's
Like
fair.
it's a weird standard.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, there are a lot of people, like you said, we were talking about this at one point, but like you said, like a lot of people consider the second one the worst one ever made, worst film ever made, and it's not even the worst in the series.
Yeah, no, The Source is the worst movie I've ever seen.
The Source is really bad, yeah. In case anyone's curious, the Highlander animated movie was called Search for Vengeance.
Yeah, which is done by this director, and I think he wrote it as well.
Did he write it? Okay,
yeah.
cool.
And he also did, I think I don't know if he directed them, but he was involved in some capacity on Afro Samurai, which is a lot like these, and I like Afro Samurai.
I've only seen a little bit of it, but I do like what I've seen.
It's one of those things where I get the impression that maybe it thinks it's deeper than it is, but as like a surface level, just kind of fun thing, it's pretty good.
According to Wiki, he also did the Animatrix, which
he did one of the Animatrix segments. He did one that looks like a Kawajiri movie, where they're where it's feudal Japan. It's all in the what's the holodeck called in the Matrix? That like loading room. It's the one where there's the two people and they're training, and it's all like
program stuff.
Yeah,
the simulation stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's cool. I like the Animatrix. It's not great, but I like it.
I don't like it.
I mean, but I also hate all of the Matrix movies, including the first one.
That's right. That's true.
That's the one thing of the Matrix I'm like, this is actually interesting. I'm starting to notice more and more what you're talking about with her. It feels like her voice is not coming out of that body in times.
Yeah. I just think she was mispicked. Now, I have heard a rumor that this was not supposed to be the dub, that this was like a stand-in dub, and they intended to do the thing they do at the studio. Is it Ghibli or Ghibli? I always say it wrong, and I always get corrected.
Ghibli?
Ghibli.
I think Ghibli.
Yeah. They were going to do the thing that they do with Studio Ghibli, where they were going to get like an all-star cast to voice it, and it just never happened.
That's interesting.
So they just released it with John DiMaggio is one of these people. My gut instinct would tell me he's the dude with the cigar, but I'm not positive.
That looks like a John DiMaggio character.
Yeah.
Is D the same guy that did D in the first movie?
No.
Okay, because I thought he sounded a little bit different.
Yeah. But when they did the ads for this movie, the narrator was the original D.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know why they didn't get him back. I liked him. I like this D,
I like him too. I'm just looking some of these voice actors as we're here, but I recognize a good few of them, both the Japanese ones and the American ones.
Yeah, the D in this is just kind of like a working anime actor.
Yeah, he's in quite a few things. He's in a couple of Gundam anime that I still haven't seen, but I'm going to.
Well, Thunderbolt just came out, and 8th MS Team, he's just listed as additional voices, which is my favorite credit.
Additional voices.
I love it when people are just listed as additional voices.
I want there to be a movie where a character's name is actually additional voices, and then just cast someone big for that.
Yeah, but somebody also has to be credited for the real additional voices.
Just screw with people doing credits would be great. This is creepy.
Yeah.
I guess the big thing with this movie that I don't think is quite as good as the first one is that the first one took its time to get us to the premise of getting to the castle. This one just goes right into it, and while it's entertaining, it would be nice to know just a little bit more about this story.
Yeah, it's a trip movie. It's kind of like Fury Road in that way.
Yeah.
This is one. I think I said it when we did the first commentary. This is just a chase scene. The entire movie is one long chase scene. It's just D and the bounty hunters, who have names, but I don't remember what they're called. They're the something brothers.
I caught a couple of the character names. I know one of them is called Kyle.
Yeah, they're the Marcus brothers. That's what they are. Yeah, it's just D and the Marcus brothers separately chasing after Meyer Link. It's just one big chase.
Meyer Link's voice when he was talking in that tunnel fight, he sounded really familiar. I don't know from where though. Oh, he was in the Spawn anime.
Oh, was he?
Or not the anime, but the Spawn show.
Yeah.
He was Jason Wynn.
Oh. Cool.
That's what I recognize from. Okay, cool.
He's additional voices in Princess Mononoke.
I haven't watched that movie in a long time.
I don't care for it. I don't want to get into it. I don't really like Studio Ghibli movies. They're not my favorite.
I feel like they're the Japanese version of Pixar, where I think all of them are kind of the same beats, but I like a lot of them.
Yeah, I don't. I like, they're fine. I'm not going to say they're bad films. They're just not really my thing.
That's fair.
I like My Neighbor Totoro. I like Kiki's Delivery Service.
I like those. My favorite is still Howl's Moving Castle. At some point I want to do something on that. I think Christian Bale is cast in that.
Or are we doing a live action?
No, in The Voice.
Oh.
Don't remember who, or if it was even really him. It was someone big I really recognized in that movie.
Well, yeah, because when we release those here, we get
Yeah, we get massive stars.
Yeah, and I think Neil Gaiman did like the script for one of them. He did like the translation script.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, Christian Bale is in that. He is Howl.
He is the titular Owl.
Yeah, yeah. He is actually the star of the movie. That's cool. Whoa, this guy is creepy looking, and I like it. It's cool.
Yeah, I like the design of a lot of the Barbaroi people.
Did D have like the weird pointy ears in the first one?
I don't know if we even see his ears in the first one, really.
Yeah, he's got his hat and long hair for most of that.
I think it's just a design choice.
I guess that's fair. He looks so much more like what I'm used to people picturing vampires as nowadays in this movie that it's just hard to get used to.
Well, I've showed you a couple of pictures from the books. He's really pretty.
Yeah, he's got that. He's got that thing we were talking about with like Helsing. This is definitely. It's not quite as weird as the first one, but it's got its weirdness.
Well, there's some weird stuff coming up. Once you get to the werewolf is like the big weird one, where it's like, I've never seen a werewolf done like that before. That's weird. But I like this whole idea that there's just like these people. They're just like, no, we told him he would have safe passage. That's kind of it. There's nothing you could do.
That is kind of cool.
There's something that I would think would come up in later books as like a reoccurring element, but I don't know if they do.
The injection thing?
No, the Barbaroi, the people that they're with right now.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess it's cool that the book series doesn't have like a strict continuity, but it would also be interesting to like keep fleshing that world out.
Yeah.
That syringe looks really cool. I don't know why it looks that way, but it does. And it's cool.
There's no reason for it to look like that. Yeah, you're going to get to see what he does, and that's kind of cool.
Okay, cool.
He's the most powerful member of the Marcus Brothers.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
He's just also dying.
That's interesting. It's... The Marcus Brothers stuff so far, I guess they're all really cool. It would just be nice if like any of them had more than a couple lines every few minutes.
Yeah, well, and they've already started getting picked up.
Yeah.
I like the shadow guy. We saw him a little bit earlier where he travels around in shadows. That's just a cool idea.
Yeah, that is fun.
Because we're getting even more characters now. We're getting these characters that are going to defend the carriage.
And I imagine most of this is in the book, right?
Yes, as I recall, I'm not going to say it's exactly the book, but as I recall, until the end, we are very, very similar to the book. The ending is quite different, but everything else is pretty similar.
Okay, that's cool. And this is interesting. Just... He is this weird torpedo of light, I guess.
Well, he's different in the book. He's kind of a monster that's horrible. Like I said, the Marcus Brothers are kind of monsters in the book. Except for the girl Leela. But they're all kind of awful people. We've toned that down so they're kind of likable, so you care when they die.
I guess that would make sense for a film, but at the same time, now I'm really curious to see what they're like in the book. The more I watch this, I'm just tempted to go ahead and buy the first few books.
Yeah, I think they're good. Like I said, I've only read the first couple, but they're good. I like them.
This is cool. The fact that he travels around in shadows and this guy's attacking with light, it's a cool matchup.
It's very Cloak and Dagger.
Yeah. I'm sure the Jack and Dexter games took some influence from this stuff. It feels a lot like Jack 3.
I haven't played Jack 3, but that wouldn't surprise me. I mean, this was a big movie when it came out. I mean, at least like for anime people.
Like I said, I've always heard of these movies. It's just I've never watched them until now. So.
Well, much like the first one, I feel like this one's kind of fallen away. People do like this one. This hasn't disappeared as much as the first film has. But right. I also don't feel like people are always talking about it. It's like, oh, this is one of my favorite anime films. Because I would say this is one of my favorite anime films. I both of them, really.
Well, most of the anime knowledge I've ever had came from, as most people my age, Toonami. And then Toonami would introduce you to bigger things even if they didn't necessarily broadcast it. So Toonami would mention things like Ghost in the Shell or Akira and stuff, but they never talked about Vampire Hunter D in any capacity.
Yeah, I want to say that this got run on Adult Swim at least once.
Did it?
I
If it
can't
did, it's weird that I didn't
verify
see it at
that.
that point. That's
I
creepy.
might be just making things up.
I can imagine the second one at least not being something that they would be able to air.
This one?
It feels like it, yeah. Because the way Adult Swim doesn't seem to like care about blood and gore or violence or any of that stuff. But there's like certain types of films just with the aesthetics and stuff they just aren't okay with showing, and I don't know why.
Huh. I never noticed that.
Yeah, there was an interview with a couple other people from Tanami. They do this like live stream thing constantly on the Cartoon Network website, but they were talking about how like the standards for Adult Swim in Tanami are very strange because it has nothing to do with blood or gore. It's all about like it's all about um what the people at the network find just visually creepy enough.
Huh.
It's really bizarre. Their censorship makes very little sense according to the Tanami guys.
That's interesting. So she has really cool powers. She's kind of like absorbing man.
That's cool. This reminded me of like the T-1000.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like absorbing
She,
man, but more planty.
yeah, yeah.
There's a
Poison
plant
ivy with
story.
metal.
Yeah.
This is cool though. I'm really digging these action scenes.
That's good because that's all this movie is. It's just riding and fighting.
I guess just 35 minutes in, I do kind of prefer the first one so far.
Yeah, I just think it's more deliberately paced. I don't know. I like the atmosphere of the first one. I think it's weirder. I feel like
Yeah.
this one's a little bit more straightforward. But like I said, most people prefer this one. So, I mean, it's a beautiful movie. It's a better looking movie.
Yeah, there's just a lot of like technical aspects that are better, like voice acting wise, and I like the score a lot in this one too. But and then the voice and the way it's animated and all that. But I don't know. The first one was one of the most unique things I've ever seen, so it's kind of hard to like overshadow that.
Yeah, and maybe this just isn't as consistent with its weirdness, or some of the weirder elements are things that feel a little bit more anime-y. Like the Shadow Guy is really cool, but I feel like I've seen somebody like him on like Rurouni Kenshin or Yu Yu Hakusho or like stuff like that. I don't feel like that with the first one.
Yeah. It certainly feels like something we've seen for a while in anime, yeah. I mean, Hellsing does a lot of this stuff in places.
Yeah.
Both the manga, the OVAs, and then also just the standard anime they did.
Well, Ninja Scroll also has a lot of characters like these characters.
Yeah.
Not that that's a detriment to the film, it's just the first film's weirder, and I kind of appreciate that.
Yeah, I don't know, I'm kind of digging it. But again, like the first one, like you said, it's just, some of it works better. It's hard to describe. I guess there's no like real deep, interesting thematic stuff to compare the two films with. They're just which one's more entertaining.
Yeah, well, and that being said, like if somebody doesn't like older anime so much, like I wouldn't be bummed giving them this film as opposed to the first film. Like they're both good.
Yeah. I don't know if this is a good anime intro necessarily.
No, maybe. It depends on what they're into.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if I had to make like a top 5 list of things people need to see to get an anime, I don't know if either one of these movies would necessarily be there.
But it's certainly something I would give to someone who likes like gothic monster stuff.
Yeah, for sure. If you like stuff like, if you've read the Bram Stoker Dracula novel and you like that, or you like the movie, then this is for you.
If you like Hellsing, you should probably...
If you like Hellsing?
Yeah.
If you like Mad Max?
Yeah, I would say that about both of them. Maybe a little bit more this one because it's more of a road trip, but yeah, if you like Mad Max, and this one's more desert focused.
Yeah,
no, I don't think this is necessarily a catch-all, get people into anime, but if people kind of already like anime, or they have sensibilities that kind of line up with this, I think it's a fine film for people to watch.
Yeah, and I mean, it's good. I'm really liking it so far. It's just a matter of, like, it's very weird watching this knowing anime as opposed to watching it going in completely blank.
Yeah, I feel like if I didn't know anime, this would feel just as weird as the first one feels.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, as cool as this truck is, I've seen stuff like this.
Yeah. Oh, I'm telling you, man, when we get to that werewolf, you've never seen a werewolf like this werewolf. I know I'm hyping it up, but it's so weird.
I'm excited for that. This coffin looked amazing, and I love that he's just sitting inside reading a letter
Well,
as if there's light.
yeah, well, he can see in the dark. He's a vampire.
That's true, but if there's no light, what is he seeing?
Um,
Magic?
yeah,
Vampire
vampires can see
logic?
in the dark. That's whatever.
Yeah, that's
We
fine.
discussed in the first one. I don't have a problem with vampires being able to breed either, even though they're technically dead.
No, that's true. There's lots of biological complaints about vampires that I don't care about, but there are
Because they're
certain very minor.
magic. They're not real. You're right. It doesn't make sense that somebody that is dead can, like, get an erection. Fine. I know it doesn't make sense. Anne Rice. I don't care, because they're not real.
It's a good point, yeah.
Um,
I've been rewatching Cowboy Bebop, and some of this is reminding me of that as well.
oh, yeah. I would not be surprised if Cowboy Bebop was an influence on this. Um,
Yeah.
I
This whole thing in this town looks exactly like some of the episodes of Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, I think it'd be hard to find anything around this time that's not influenced in some way by Cowboy Bebop. Even
That,
Firefly is influenced by Cowboy Bebop.
yeah. I mean, that's just one of those things. I feel like even non-anime people know Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, well, Cowboy Bebop is one of the, I think, easiest things to give to people.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I love Trigun, but Trigun takes 10 episodes to, like, get going.
Yeah,
And before that, it's just all anime humor. And if you don't like that, or if that's off-putting to you, Trigun's really hard to get into.
yeah. No, that's fair. And Cowboy Bebop's not like that. Like, it opens with a jazz intro. Like, it's very westernized.
Yeah.
Well, I think that might be something to talk about because we talked a little bit about this earlier in the first one, but there's this weird faction of newer anime fans that I've been talking to just on forums and stuff, and there's this weird notion going around now that an anime is only an anime if it's completely devoid of Western influence, and I don't understand that.
Well, that doesn't make sense.
That does like there are people that are saying things like if the anime uses American music or American models at all, it's not really an anime. I'm like, but that's how anime got started.
Well, and what about Big O? Like, Big O is entirely made and produced in Japan, but it's clearly an American influenced show.
Yeah, I'm not really sure where that comes from, but there is this weird, like, almost Japanese purist movement going on that I don't really get.
Her gun is insanely large.
That is a massive gun. That recoil must be insane.
Oh man, I gotta get you to watch Wicked City. It's one of my favorite things with recoil. If they have a giant gun and they deal with the recoil, it's great.
That's awesome. I've heard of Wicked City. I still have not seen that.
We could do a commentary to that. That would be fun because that is just nonstop in craziness. I would love to do a commentary with that. And Wicked
Is that
City
a
is
good one?
I
Is that
love
good one
Wicked
you
City.
find?
It's a gorgeous film. It is also by Kawajiri and based on a Kikuchi novel.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. That'd be a good follow-up to this then if we want to do that next.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Someone in the comments when we did the first D was like, you should put some kind of like rated R warning. I was like, well, I'm not controlling whether you watch the movie or not. There might need to be some kind of warning for Wicked City. Like, you need to be prepared to watch that movie.
Is that one I should go in? Should we do it like half blind like we're doing this, or just should I watch it first and then go in?
No, I have to be there with you as you experience it. It's the only way.
We should do that one. At some point, we talked about this, but we want to do like the Dragon Ball Z movies at some point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because those are fun.
Yeah. My hobbies are reading and sports. So this guy's really interesting.
The guy with the gun or the mechanic?
The mechanic.
Okay.
I feel like, and I don't remember if this is in the book. This feels like something that's very much out of the book, so I think it's from the book. His whole backstory feels like There's that one like info dump scene in the first film where he's like, "Don't you
Yeah.
remember the camps from 20 years ago?" It feels like that refined and to make that story more personal, and it really works. I really like this guy's story.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. I'm loving his voice actor, whoever that is.
Yeah. I like the sheriff. He's just kind of like a jerk for no reason. Like he's a very Western stereotype.
Well, that's fun.
Well, I would say like a postmodern Western stereotype where the
Yeah,
sheriff
'cause that was
is
made in
the
2000s.
the
There's only
jerk.
so
Yeah.
much. Yeah. Some of these angles, it's like in places doesn't even feel like I'm watching an animated movie. This is partly why I get annoyed when someone's like, if to get the most people you have to make it live action, because some of what they're doing here just feels almost better.
Yeah. No, I agree. Um, but I also know a lot of people that are what I refer to as cartoon racists. That regardless of how mature or intellectual something is, if it's a cartoon, they like immediately tune out.
I can understand having that mentality because people are raised with it to a degree of like only kids watch cartoons, but at some point I feel like we've outgrown that. Like I know lots of people that are in their 30s and most of what they watch is cartoons.
Well, and it doesn't like extend to like Pixar. Like they don't have any problem watching a Pixar movie and loving it. But
Yeah.
like once it's I don't know, like something that's meant for adults, um, it's like they just tune out. I don't know.
This old guy is awesome.
Yeah, he is. I told you.
He's great. I also feel like the moment he fires that thing, like his arms are gonna break off.
No, Rico doesn't exist in anime. That's a fun little bit in Hellsing where they like explain like, no, if anybody but you fires this gun, their arm would be gone.
Well, Hellsing's weird because in the anime, not the original anime, not the one they did later, but like there's a very specific thing they do in one of the episodes where they show you how far back Alucard's hand goes because he fires his gun,
Yeah.
and then they never do it again.
That first anime is weird. It's
It's
really self-serious. Like, it's way more self-serious than I remembered.
it's really self-serious, and the ending is really odd. I don't hate it. A lot of people hate it.
I like the
I
ending,
think
and
it's
I wish
okay.
it got another season.
I do too. I liked it. I watched that anime before I read the manga and before the
Yeah,
OVA
same
stuff came
here.
out. Yeah, I really liked it. I loved the intro for that too. Like I just
Oh, I
thought it
love the
was so
music
interesting
for
thing.
that series.
Yeah, that was good. I haven't finished watching the OVAs. I watched like the first three and I really dug them, but they're just the manga.
I've never actually watched them. I've only read the manga.
It's the same thing, so
But
you
it's just
know. I
so
mean,
expensive, and I can't ever find like a good like they have them on Hulu, but they're only subbed, and I prefer dubbed, especially with Helsing. I really like the voice cast for Helsing.
oh, I do too.
Um,
Uh,
this is a nice little bit I really like. Where like he understands that she wants to go out in the sun and he can't follow her.
that's cool.
I think
Yeah.
that's a their relationship is one of the biggest changes from the book. Um, the movie is far more sympathetic to them than the book is.
Interesting. Well, yeah, it seems like
As I
we're
recall, like again, I haven't read this since I was like 14, but as I recall, it is more of an abduction story in the book, whereas here she is running away with him, which is kind of like the Searchers.
it feels very quintessential gothic though that would happen.
Yeah,
Something, yeah. There's just stuff about the way this whole thing's animated and shot and stuff where it feels so much
I
more
love the water.
romantic. Yeah, that looks great.
I don't know when I started paying attention to water, but I have it with video games too. I'm always impressed by water.
I am impressed by water until I realize it's a game where water kills you.
I want to say Resident Evil
And it
4
annoys
was
me.
the first game where I saw water and was like, oh, it looks like water. That's cool.
Yeah, water is surprisingly difficult to animate,
Yeah,
especially in video games.
water and wet, both in standard animation and 3D animation. People always complain about having to do like wet hair.
Well, that's the big thing with Finding Nemo, that if you watch any of the special features for anything of that movie, that's all Pixar will talk about is the idea of doing a movie entirely underwater.
Well, it's probably a little bit easier when they're all fish. Like, I know in
Yeah.
The Incredibles, they talk about how difficult it was to animate them wet when the plane explodes.
Yeah. And they talk a lot when you watch like Monsters Incorporated and stuff. They talk about like hair and how difficult it is to like render every individual piece.
Yeah, yeah.
It feels like it's really weird to me that in America we harp on how difficult animation is, but I've never seen a commentary or a special feature for anything anime related where they talk about how difficult something is to make. They just do it.
That's true.
I don't know why we don't have that mentality.
Well, and I feel like anytime I ever see, I'm mostly thinking about like manga things. But anytime I ever hear like an artist from Japan talk about like how difficult things is, it's never about how difficult it actually is, and more about like, oh, I'm lazy and I don't want to do it. Like Naruto is rife with that.
Yeah,
Where the
yeah.
author is constantly saying how lazy he is now he doesn't actually want to do it. Uh, and obviously Akira Toriyama is king. I am lazy and don't want to do things.
The guy that did Yu Yu Hakusho is the same way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a thing where like it's like they don't talk about how difficult things are. They're just like, well, it's hard and I don't want to do it.
It's really bizarre to me where we get that. When something like that happens with a comic book artist, people tend to point it out really quickly.
Hmm.
It seems like manga gets away with it, and then anime is just always looks beautiful, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Like this came out in 2000, it looks better than any cartoon I was watching in the 2000s.
it looks like any cartoon I'm watching now. Like,
It
and
does, huh?
cartoons look great. Like I love Young Justice and stuff, but like American
Yeah.
animation has never looked as good as Japanese animation.
I'm having. I feel like if it wanted to, it maybe could,
Well,
but
we don't.
America's
I
got this
don't think
weird
we put as
prejudice
much
against
money into
animation.
it. I don't
Yeah,
think we respect it as much, and
exactly.
um, I think we talk about like anime shortcuts. I don't think we ever master animation shortcuts like they did. We're like, we
No,
can make shows look really good because we know how to make them cheaply and look really good.
yeah. As much as I love Earth's Mightiest Heroes and Spectacular Spider-Man, a lot of people can't get into those shows because of the character designs and how poorly animated some of it
I
is.
feel like you really quickly get adjusted to it in Spectacular.
You do.
In Earth's Mightiest Heroes, it's always a problem. Like you get used to it, you never like it. Whereas like I like Spectacular Spider-Man style as like there's a body without a head. As like very quickly, like I was like, oh, this style really works. I really like this. I never felt like that with Earth's Mightiest Heroes. It always felt like a compromise.
Yeah, well, it's because Earth's Mightiest Heroes just relies on more visual stuff. Like, they do the Secret Invasion thing, but instead of doing the reveal of Tony's got the classic armor, which was stupid in the comic, they did a reveal of Cap's back and he's wearing his classic costume. So, like, it's supposed to strike you visually in a way Spectacular never bothered with that.
To be fair, I think their Secret Invasion is better than the comic book Secret Invasion.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think that entire show, except for the finale, everything except the finale, I think that entire show is better than the Marvel Universe was at that point.
I think the entire second half of the second season is significantly weaker.
Yeah,
But that's also the point that the people who are making Avengers Assemble take over that show, and it
yeah.
immediately becomes really episodic. Really, it's not. There's no forward momentum on that show anymore. And that's what was great about that show is they laid down seeds across the entire show.
Yeah, that and Young Justice did that both from episode one, things were building.
Yeah, I mean, Young Justice does it better because it's Greg Weisman, but and they have
See,
better
Young Justice
characters.
does it better, but I always hated the second season of that show so much that I just never put it above things like Earth Mightiest Hero or Green Lantern the animated
I think the
series.
first season of Young Justice is maybe the best American cartoon ever made.
Um, it's up there. It's really good. Um, that music cue is hilarious and campy. That is the most campy music cue ever.
It's very Scooby Doo.
It's very Scooby Doo. It feels like a Resident Evil sound effect.
Yeah, or the Metal Gear Solid the
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. That knife looks awesome.
yeah. See, like that's convenient.
It's very convenient, but it's also really cool.
This is a kind of character that like I feel like is genuinely like cool and like interesting an idea, but it's also an idea that like I wonder, was this idea more original when the book came out? Because I've seen like 30 anime characters that have powers like that. It's not that it's not cool, it's just that it's also not super unique.
Yeah, I mean, I'm having a hard time thinking of something that doesn't do that to some degree. Well, this book was published what in the 80s?
Yeah, somewhere in the early 80s, I want to say. Like
I guess then it would come first.
85, 84, something like that.
I guess that it would come first. It is like the first movie a question of like you can never place what something did where someone did this before, so everyone just stops here.
Yeah.
This is another classic Western scene of like the hero just laying there injured, and then someone holding a gun to him while they wait out a storm.
Yeah. It's also in The Incredible Hulk.
It is in the Incredible Hulk, yeah. I remember when the Incredible Hulk came out, everyone and their mother thought that the thunderstorm was a reference to Thor,
Yep.
and when tiny specks were flying in the sky, they thought it was Thor.
Yep. I remember YouTube videos about that.
Yep.
Uh,
But the moment we realized we were getting a Marvel Cinematic Universe, people went overboard with some of that stuff.
well, it's funny because it's just a scene from Hulk Gray.
Oh yeah, it is.
Okay, so the first book was put out in 83, so the third book is probably 84, 85, somewhere in there.
Okay, that makes sense.
So yeah, it's before and stuff.
Um, because you mentioned the book, I do want to mention something you told me before, which is this movie's called Bloodlust, which is the most generic vampire title ever, but the book is called Demon Death Chase.
Yeah, it's a much better title. Although
That is
maybe less
title.
Descriptive because there are no demons.
Well,
I mean,
are vampires technically demons?
Not in this universe.
Okay, that's fair then.
You have to remember everything in this universe is kind of like genetic mutants vampires created.
Gotcha.
Well, I mean, there are other things. There's elder gods and stuff, but I don't think vampires are demons. I also love that D is sleeping in the ground, which is a very vampire thing that we just ignore and don't do anymore.
Well, it used to be this thing, like in Dracula, where it's not just any dirt; it has to be the dirt from his homeland.
Well, but I wonder if D can cheat, because earlier we talked over it, but when he's out in the desert, and he like passes out, his hand talks to him about, or no, it's here where he passes out. It's this point. His hand tells him that he's suffering from like heat exhaustion or from like sun exhaustion. He's not like Blade where he's completely immune to the sun. He can go out in the sun, but extended periods he has to rest and get away from it.
So it's a lot like Dracula. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. Whereas all regular vampires in this universe are much more the traditional step out into the sunlight and burst into flames kind of a thing.
Gotcha. Well, it seems like with all the weaknesses of vampires, people seem to have this notion that with how many ways to kill them, they're not as much of a threat as they used to be. But part of what I'm liking about this movie is that, yeah, you can kill them 1,000 ways, but you don't know those secrets, and even if you did, how are you going to get close enough?
Well, yeah, that's a big thing in the books is that nobody knows the secrets. But and this is another thing that we've lost is vampires know that they can be easily murdered, so they surround themselves with minions that guard them during the day.
That's interesting.
We've gotten rid of that. Like that's in Dracula. It's in Lost Boys. In Lost Boys, they talk about how he's got the hounds of hell that protect him.
Yeah, that's a good point. We don't do that anymore, do we?
No, we also don't let we don't do the minion thing anymore. Where like they feed on like Lucy in Dracula. We don't have that anymore.
Well, vampires used to have like this very almost aristocratic commentary along with them. Like they just weren't people that turned into demons. They were like really wealthy, castle-owning monarch type characters.
Yeah.
We don't do that anymore either. We kind of always do like the loner cool kind of character now.
Yeah, well, and I've seen like essays and things on Dracula as a very xenophobic book. It is the outsider coming in and appropriating our culture.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and we don't, and we've taken that and we've changed it to people living in a world that hates and fears them. You know, they're mutants now. They're not.
Yeah.
They're the heroes. And I like Angel, but Angel's a big part of that too.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say like Joss Whedon is part of a lot of those problems, but I love Angel, and they did an episode. Buffy season 5 opens with Buffy versus Dracula, which is kind of making fun of that. So that's, I guess, in a way, I'm more okay with it there.
Yeah, well, I mean that show's whole thing is just that it really shouldn't be called the Vampire Slayer. Like vampires are a part of that universe.
Not past season 2.
Yeah, and then we just go right past them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when you get to the point where Cordelia can kill vampires without any help, it sort of loses the edge.
Well, and we've, I feel like vampires reached a saturation point, and I don't just mean like the Twilight thing. I mean, I think people are tired of vampires, and maybe it's good that like we're not doing a lot of vampire stuff right now. And I think that's why things like that Dracula show that came out like 2 years ago, which I thought was kind of interesting. I saw the first episode and I thought it was really interesting.
I've heard of that. I know it got canceled right away, so I never checked it out.
Yeah, it was just like I said, I only saw the first episode. I thought it was a really interesting take. It was a really different take. But I feel like we're kind of burned out on vampires right now. Oh, this is so pretty.
I love that you say burned out as we see this.
And I don't feel like Japan has ever been burned out on vampires. They've always thought they were cool, and they've continued telling vampire stories.
It seems like Japan has more fun with vampires in a way that here vampires almost become too melodramatic.
Well, and I also think that they never got tired of the vampire cliches, and they think that that's still fun to play with.
Yeah.
And we don't. We don't do those kinds of vampires anymore.
It kind of Dracula Untold's a movie that everyone on the planet hated, but I thought it was just all right, and that's kind of why I wish there was more of that, because they do some really cool stuff visually with like with him turning into bats and then the bats morphing into things like giant fists and stuff to attack armies. And I wish we did more of just like the kooky fun vampire stuff to compensate for that.
Yeah, but that movie's a little too straight to do the things that it's doing. I think that's why people rejected it. If that movie had been more over the top on the whole, I think people would have accepted that stuff more. Like
probably so.
If that movie had just had a slightly wackier tone. I love this scene. I think it's really, I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen anything in live action that's ever, of all of the vampire romances I've ever seen, I'm not saying this is like incredibly moving, but just on a visual level, it really is. It's really moving and powerful.
I mean, this is how you do like legitimate melodrama. Like this is real visual storytelling. You don't need to have the deepest characterizations. You just have to be able to convey what people are feeling through their actions. Like, I think on that level it really works. I was gonna say something, but I don't want to open that floodgate.
Was it Twilight or was it?
No, it was not Twilight. It was it was gonna be BVS. I don't want to open that floodgate, but that's the werewolf dude.
Yeah, there it is.
Whoa! What the hell?
It's so cool and weird.
I don't understand. That's awesome. You know, you said that we were supposed to care more about some of these about like these this band of characters because they're not as despicable as they are in the book, but I'm still kind of not caring about them.
I mean, they're. I don't want to spoil the book for you. They're not constantly trying to rape the girl, which is kind of what's happening in the book.
Oh, okay.
Again, we talked about in the first one, the Japanese have a very different view of sex than us. And I think a lot of times we like to just be like, well, that's wrong. Japan needs to change.
Well, most of the world has a different view of sex than the U.S. does.
Yeah, and I think specifically when people talk about anime, I don't think they understand that. And they immediately like classify anything sexual in anime as very pervy and very like sophomoric or lesser than us. Like Japan needs to grow up. It's just different. They just view it differently.
I think with Japan, there's a distinction I always want to talk about when we do stuff like this, which is the difference between sexualization and sexuality. Where like when you're doing fiction, specifically like visual stuff, you want to do almost the Greek thing of like making everything like realistic but more beautiful. So like the characters act and behave like people, but they look amazing. They're fictional gods, and so Japan does like the sexuality thing where like everything looks really good on purpose, but it's not sexualization because it's not. At least in many cases, it's not
but they also
exploiting
go
for anyone to watch.
to rapey places a lot quicker than we do.
No, that's
And
true.
I
I mean,
think they
there's
get
lots
crap
of
for that.
sexualization in Japan too. It's just in cases like this, it's not like that.
Yeah, I think Japan gets crap for that, and like we like to make fun of and look down on Japan for that. I
Yeah.
really think a lot of it is a cultural difference. It's not something as simple as, well, Japan just needs to grow up like we have. But the D books have a lot of that stuff in it. All of Kikuchi's work has a lot of that stuff in it, but D's the tamest of it. But yeah. They're all of the Marcus brothers are kind of horrible. So the fact that they're not constantly trying to rape her makes it a little bit more palatable. I'm not saying you super care when they die, but you're also happy when they die.
Yeah.
And you're at least sad for her, and you can believe that she would care about them.
Yeah. No, that's fair. And I mean,
and you'd probably care for her a little bit better if it was a better voice actress.
It's instantly got more stakes than the first movie, where none of his team died, where the kid and the girl didn't die. It was just D going out and doing his thing.
Well, but that was also a different. Like that was very the hero comes in and saves the woman and child. Yeah. This doesn't have. I think this is a similarly simple story, but not exactly the same.
Right. That is weird.
So weird. Why would you do it like that?
I don't know. It's weird, but I kind of dig it. I mean, he looks cool. It's just the stomach thing is weird. His horse has horns, and I don't know why, but it's awesome.
Well, it's a robot horse.
Yeah, like the first one, but it's fun.
I mean, that's not like actually an explanation for the horns, but I'm just going to stick with my answer.
I mean, if you're building a robot horse, why make it look like an actual horse when you can make it look cooler?
Yeah. Okay, so this is where we start inventing things that are not in the book. This
backstory?
Yeah, all of this stuff with Carmilla, this is all invented for the movie.
Interesting.
This is because of the alteration in relationship. Because we are more sympathetic towards Meyerlink, he can't be the big bad at the end of the story, so we have to invent one. Right. And so we go to Carmilla, which is obviously another important vampire story.
Yeah.
One of the first, before... Like Dracula always gets the credit for being the one that consolidates all the myths. Carmilla is another notable one before Dracula that does it as well. And the Vampire is another one, I think that's what it is. There's a couple before Dracula that also do it, just not as well or as widely known.
Yeah, there's the Vampire with like Y instead of I, and then there's Verney the Vampire, and then there's Carmilla, and I think Dracula comes a few years after that.
Yeah, and one of them, I don't remember which one of them, Bram Stoker has said was a big influence on Dracula, if not all three of them.
It's hard to say. I guess it's probably all three of them. Vampire fiction was building for a while, at the very least, before Bram Stoker showed up.
Yeah, well, and that's one of the things that I guess we should mention when we talk about like vampires used to. It really kind of starts with Dracula. Vampires are a bunch of scattered myths that we cobbled together into a cohesive... It's one of the things about the rules of vampires where, like, we act like there are these concrete rules, and like, oh, I like that they still use this, but really it's cobbling together of a bunch of different mythology that just have similar creatures called vampires.
Yeah, and it's important to remember that like Bram Stoker's Dracula was like the first real novel. Stuff like Carmilla was like short fiction.
Yeah,
there's stuff in like Lord Byron poetry and like simple verses that make reference to vampires. So like it really is just fragmenting things into a book.
And at the very beginning, I meant to mention this when we were talking about the dirt, but then we got off on the whole thing about vampires. Oh, his sword's ridiculously long. It's not as bad as in the first one, but that's a real long
No,
sword.
not when it's like 7 feet long. I don't know what was up with that.
But I love in the beginning the shot where Meyerlink grabs. I always forget the girl's name because she's not important. She has like 4 lines. She has more than 4 lines, but she's not really that important. I'm looking it up. Charlotte. It's Charlotte. I love when he grabs Charlotte at the very beginning, and then we see it in the mirror, and it's just her body hanging there. The no reflection thing is something that I feel like we forget a lot, or we don't use a lot.
The no reflection thing I've always liked because it was just the idea like vampires have no soul, cameras steal your soul, reflection doesn't show up. Like,
Well, and I
I
always
always
thought
thought that
it
was
was such a cool. I don't know if I've ever seen it used like to its fullest extent, where like you could do like the first third of a movie where someone doesn't have a reflection and never draw attention to it before you like reveal it.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, there's just so much cool visual storytelling you can do with classic vampires, especially if you use like the full-blown gothic aesthetic with very little mirrors. This castle looks amazing.
Yeah,
It kind of reminds me of the castle at the end of Fullmetal Alchemist, though.
yeah. There's another castle I was thinking of. I can't think what it is.
Is it Castlevania? Castlevania looks a little bit like this
Yeah,
too.
Castlevania does look like this. I like Castlevania.
I do too. Castlevania's fun.
I see you like to play Castlevania. That's a Metal Gear reference. In Metal Gear Solid, it can read your when you fight Psycho Mantis, and he quote unquote reads your mind. He's reading your memory card, and he's programmed to have responses to other Konami games.
That's funny.
And so if you have a save file for Symphony of the Night, Psycho Mantis would say, "I see you like to play Castlevania."
That's awesome.
You know,
Oh, this looks so cool. This is like the most classic gothic shot I've seen.
we're supposed to be getting some kind of animated miniseries for Castlevania.
Are we? Cool.
Yeah, they announced that like a year ago. I don't know if they're ever going to actually make it. There was also a Castlevania movie written by Warren Ellis that we never got.
I have heard about that, yeah.
But I mean, I think they'd be fools not to do something visually like this.
Meyerlink has a really cool design.
Yeah,
I love just how, not only like classic vampire, but like very specific to this future he looks.
yeah. The one in Blade 2 kind of looks like him.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Well, I mean, he's white like him, but he's got the bald head. But then that same actor plays the elf prince in Hellboy 2, which looks a lot like him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a, you know, we moved away from the, like porcelain white vampires. Like sometimes we do that. I always think it looks weird when they just go pale and veiny, like where they just look like a pale person. Although I'm not sure this white would work on like a person.
I guess he certainly doesn't look like, he doesn't look like pale necessarily. He almost looks like his skin was bleached.
Yeah, he looks like the Joker.
Yeah. Which I think it works. I think because it makes him look more like a ghost and less like he's dead.
Well, and it makes him stand out, and he doesn't look like anyone else, except for Dee, who's also half vampire, and Carmilla, who's also a vampire.
Yeah, it reminds me of iZombie, where like people that turn into zombies turn pale with white hair, so they can put makeup on to like make their skin look like it's more tanned.
Yeah.
Also, red eyes are always awesome.
Yeah, except on rats. They're scary.
No, that's terrifying. Yeah. If you see an animal with red eyes, run.
Yeah. It probably has rabies.
Yeah, this is just one more life lesson from Eric and Steve. I don't know
Somebody
what
should
it is.
do one of those movie posters for this, where it's the poster for this, and it's just, if you see an animal with red eyes, run, Eric.
Anime likes to do this thing where it's got like a very serious, tragic villain character, and when they speak, their lips move very, very little. Like they're just almost just speaking through their teeth in places. I don't know why, but I always thought that's looked cool.
And
It's
guys know
almost
how
like a
much
60s
time it
acting.
take to clean this place.
Oh God, that would be
You know,
awful.
we like to get angry at rich people for having a big staff, but if you have a house like this, you need a bunch of people to constantly be cleaning.
See, this is why you just don't buy houses this big when you get rich. Like, if you're gonna live by yourself, just get like a one-room place.
Yeah, you're kind of just asking for somebody to like be living in your house and you don't know it for years.
There's a movie in that. I'm sure someone's already made
Yeah, I'm
that.
sure that's a movie.
That claw is awesome.
Yeah. Well, he does this thing. He did it earlier that I've always thought was really cool, but also makes no sense. Where his cape just magically becomes like a
Wings?
blade. Like he fights
Oh,
with it. Like he sword fights D with it.
that's cool.
He did it earlier when they were on the carriage.
Oh yeah, okay. A second ago when he saw D with the girl, with how like sad his face looked, that was beautifully animated.
Yeah.
That was that. There was so much of that scene that I really liked there. Yeah, like these characters aren't speaking much, but I'm really feeling for this romance. It's visually told so well.
I feel like this whole movie is like we sometimes we say this about things, and I don't know if it's as true as we say it is. I feel like this is a movie you can mostly watch without any dialogue. Like
Yeah,
this could almost work as a silent film.
yeah. I mean, it's like you said, it's a lot like Fury Road, where like you everything you need is there. The words are just there for like some occasional exposition.
Yeah.
Like it just builds context, doesn't build the story or the themes.
Well, you know what? You might need some dialogue for this ending because Carmilla kind of comes out of nowhere and starts
I
talking
suppose you
stuff.
probably could have ended it without the Carmilla stuff.
This is very Helsing-y. I mean, I think this
Oh,
predates Helsing, but Helsing has a lot of specifically that original anime.
yeah. A lot of like the shape shifting in this movie is reminding me of Hellsing.
Yeah. Well, I don't think there's any way that Hirano was not influenced by Kikuchi's work. Like, if, again, I don't know because I don't live in Japan, but to my understanding, Kikuchi's work is really popular in Japan. And if it's that
Right.
popular and you're also doing vampire stuff, like, I feel like, like, you know that Joss Whedon read Anne Rice by the time he started doing Buffy because Anne Rice was super popular in the 80s and early 90s.
Yeah, I mean, if you're familiar, if you've read even like if you read Just Interview with a Vampire and you watched the first couple seasons of Buffy, you know Anne Rice is there.
Yeah. Although I've never been able to get a sense for what Whedon actually thought of Anne Rice. Like, I know
Um,
Angel makes fun of it, but I just feel like that's Angel being a vampire.
I think he's talked about it in places. I know he's talked about how like Anne Rice had the turn from vampire fiction to religion to back to vampire fiction. I know he's talked about that at one point.
Yeah, and that's kind of weird.
Yeah, those books get really bad pretty quickly.
Yeah. And those first three, though.
Yeah, those first three are classics.
I'm surprised those are series.
Aren't they making a new movie?
Are they?
I thought they were. Yeah.
I feel like those three books you can easily get like 5, 6 seasons out of.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I mean, they just lots of time jumps, so yeah.
Why didn't they do that for? Like, I feel like that's the perfect replacement for both Game of Thrones and like Vampire Diaries or True Blood or whatever that series, whatever the one that was on HBO was.
True Blood.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's sexy, it's Victorian, like it's a historical piece. Um,
You're right. Why not put that on HBO?
I don't know.
It's a good idea.
And everyone that loves Game of Thrones can love all of the really creepy sexual stuff in those books. Where Lestat's like in love with his stepmom and stuff. And another
This
one
is
is
cool.
dead.
I mean, it's sad, but it's cool. This movie, in animation, sometimes it's hard to tell, but I love the way it's using like brightness in different shots.
Yeah.
Like it's just shaded and brightened really well, and it's not stuff you notice until it's done badly or done really well.
You know, I feel like I once learned how they did snow in animation, and I can never unsee that. Like, it's clearly under and overlaid. It's not landing on them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember if I realized it or someone explained it once, but once I found out how snow is done in animation, I've never been able to unsee it. And I don't know if there's ever been snow that's looked like real.
It's always just out of phase with the character.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. This whole sequence right here with D is really Helsingy.
Yeah. And as I recall, I know Carmilla's not in this. I don't think any of this ending stuff is here. I think they might get here and then he murders Meyerlink. And that's kind of the end of the book.
And you said Meyerlink's not as sympathetic in the book, right? Like he's just straight up evil.
As I recall, yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. I guess I just based on your description that I really like him here, and the Carmilla stuff so far just feels kind of tacked on, like you said it is.
Yeah. This entire movie is far more sympathetic to their relationship than the book is, as I recall.
Well, I mean, like this is very clearly just more of a gothic romance by the end.
Yeah.
Like, it seems like the book is, like the name suggests, just a road trip, and this is more by the end, almost like what's that movie called? Crimson Peak?
I still haven't seen that.
I like that movie.
I know.
Everyone hated it.
It came up last time on the commentary. I still haven't seen it.
Okay.
Carmilla is definitely influenced by Gary Oldman's Dracula. Like, there's no way around that.
Yeah, for sure. She's even moving around like he does.
Well, she's got hair like he does when he's old.
Yeah. That was another thing about that movie I really liked, is just how bizarre their Dracula was, scene to scene.
You know, I go with a lot in that movie. That hairstyle, I just can't abide.
See, but I like it because this is a really ancient guy that's lived through an era where aristocrats dress like that.
Yeah. It's really goofy looking.
It is goofy looking, but I feel like it fits the aesthetic of the rest of that movie.
Oh, they keep done peeling this.
Oh yeah, the word we got from the first movie.
Yeah.
Ouch. Did that just vaporize the insides of his hand? Because there was no blood.
Well, he's a vampire.
Oh, that's true. I could have sworn that someone else bled, though, at some point that was a vampire.
I'm sure they did. I'm sure it's just an inconsistency. Or it's super hot and it cauterized it right as it went through.
Yeah, which is cool.
Like lightsabers do, sometimes.
Yeah. Some of these just facial expressions I'm having a hard time not stopping and staring at because they're so well animated. Like eyes are twitching and stuff when they're in shock. That's really cool.
Well, and this is just like the most classic like vampire imagery.
Oh yeah. We have this tendency now to exaggerate what vampire teeth are supposed to look like. I like how simple it is in this.
Yeah.
Like, as much as I love Buffy and Angel, I was never big on the whole vampire face.
I've never liked the vampire face, and I don't know where it comes from. Like, it's in Lost Boys, but I don't know where Lost Boys got it from.
As much vampire fiction I've read, I've never seen anyone stop and describe, like, the face turning, like, bony and losing the eyebrows and stuff. I don't know where that comes from. I know Whedon talks about, like, how he wanted there to literally be a different physical form for a vampire, so maybe he didn't pull it from something and he just thought of it, but I know it's somewhere else.
Well, it's really weird in like, Buffy and Angel, where it's like, does that actually make you stronger? Sometimes
Angel makes
it seems
seem like it does. Yeah. Angel makes it seem like when he's losing a fight, he goes vampire face. Or maybe it's just like he needs more concentration to keep the face gone, so he loses it, kind of like Mystique in First Class.
Yeah.
It could be one of those
There's
two.
a lot of blood here. Maybe this is why it didn't get aired on Adult Swim.
I don't know. I feel like Adult Swim's aired.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Hard to say. It looked cool though.
Oh, this shot's really cool.
It is.
No, we haven't gotten to the super bloody bit. There's a super bloody bit. Not even like gory bloody. Just like there's a really bloody bit. You'll know it when we get to it, but.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, we're almost done with this too. We're on 122.
Anime movies aren't that long.
No, they usually never are.
She's very, and this, now that I'm thinking about this makes perfect sense, because I think it's Amano, is the artist for the D novels. She looks very Final Fantasy.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and Amano
She does
designs
have
the
that.
first, I think, 7. He might just do the first 6, but I think he does. I think he's at least somewhat involved in 7. But she
Well,
looks really Final Fantasy.
well, now that you say that, and maybe I mentioned this in the first one, but D looks a lot like Vincent Valentine.
Well, yeah, and Vincent Valentine looks a lot like Alucard, or vice versa. I'm
Yeah.
not really sure which one came first.
Well, I guess there's just a lot of that in anime of like slender, long black-haired guys.
Yeah, when they
There
like,
is definitely a lot of Bram Stoker Dracula in this. Like even with the chair, there is some stuff there that is from that movie visually.
yeah, yeah. I just think the Japanese like that movie more than we did.
Yeah.
Like on the whole.
Well, Japan definitely gets like bigger cultural influence, but things like the monster from The Ring is massive there for some reason.
Well, I mean, at least that's theirs.
Yeah. But the fact that they use that mascot to like pitch baseball games and stuff, it's weird.
Yeah.
This is cool. This is really cool. So we do this thing in vampire fiction that's always weird to me, which is if you're Dracula or you're related to Dracula, you're automatically the most amazing vampire there is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a thing.
It When I read that book, it always felt like Dracula was just another vampire, like not king of everything.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's
It's
a
always bugged me.
um yeah, I mean that's a big thing with D because D's dad is Dracula, and
Yeah.
so we build on all of that.
This did get pretty bloody towards the end, though.
I told you.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, there's nothing like splitting a guy is in half in the first movie and we see his guts all over the
that's
place.
true. We don't stab somebody in the eye, and then they pull their eye out, and it just pops right back
They
in.
don't even flinch while a dagger is in their eye, but then they pull their entire eye out. It's hilarious.
Um, but yeah, I feel like Dracula's importance has always kind of gotten built up. It's one of those things where it's that in universe versus out of universe thing, where like because he's important in our universe, we have to make him important in everything else.
That's one of the other things I like about Dracula Untold is which by the end, Dracula is not the biggest vampire in town. He's still got a master, and he's just a guy.
I feel like somebody's gonna listen to this and they're gonna be like, "Oh, you don't like Batman v Superman, but you love Dracula Untold."
I'll be clear about that. I don't love that movie. I just don't hate it as much as everyone else seems to. Ian and I, Sid Part 2 on Geeky Gentleman, we did a review of that movie when it came out. We both kind of liked it. I still don't get why everyone
I would never go
raked it
so
through the
far as
coals.
to say I like that movie, but I didn't dislike it as much as everyone else seems to. Like people are acting like it was like the
Like
worst
Dracula
thing.
2000.
Yeah.
It's not Dracula 2000. It's not Dracula 3000 either.
Dracula
It's
2000. Do you know
okay.
who plays Dracula in Dracula 2000?
I don't
It's
remember.
Gerard Butler.
Is it Gerard
It's
Butler?
Gerard Butler.
Oh wow, that's interesting. Well, Gerard Butler's always been an actor that I thought was kind of bland. I never understood how he got big.
300.
No, that's true. But even
No. I'm telling you how he got big. 300.
but Dracula's before that.
Yeah, but it wasn't that big. I don't feel like Dracula 2000 was that big.
No, it wasn't. But I mean, I know he was an actor before 300.
Yeah, was he in Phantom of the Opera? If
Yeah,
he was in
yeah.
Phantom of the Opera, that's probably how he got really big.
Yeah, I remember that when the Oscars with that movie was. That was crazy.
I still haven't seen that movie.
I still haven't either. I mean, I've read the play a couple of times, but this whole finale is gorgeous.
Yeah.
And this sword is again massive for some reason.
wait.
I'm gonna track this.
Were you talking about these or Meyer Links? Because I feel. Oh no, that's D. Okay. It was the second one. I was like, yeah, Meyer Link's sword is giant too. No, I forgot. They're both wearing black. I'm sorry.
No, it's understandable. They're both wearing black. They both got the same skin complexion. It's just the hair
Yeah, no, Meyer
difference.
Link has those weird, cool. I don't know that his cape becomes a blade. I don't know what that is. Batman needs to get that.
It's
It's
cool.
really
I mean,
cool.
I can't believe the Nolan trilogy went out of its way to show us that through an electrical current, his cape can morph into shapes, and they never did anything except a glider with it.
Well, what else would it be?
You could do something. You can turn it into a weapon. You could turn it into a shield.
But it's still fabric.
No, that's true, but it turns rigid.
Well, it can have the rigid structure. It can have a rigid bone structure. It doesn't. I don't know.
I feel like they made it a point of being like it's very durable. I feel like you could do more with it. Like Batman fights with his cape in the comics. I wish he did more of that.
Yeah, I wish he followed his cape like Meyer Link. I wish it became blades out of nowhere. That should have been in that Batman Dracula comics.
That should have been. It should have been in Batman versus Dracula.
Does he become a vampire in that one?
He doesn't, but he fights them with syringes.
Oh yeah. Surprised that got past. Oh, it didn't get past Trans Practices. It was direct to DVD.
Yep. They aired it on Cartoon Network a few months, if not a year after.
That's how I saw it. I saw it on Cartoon Network.
Oh,
and I was like, wow, this is dark. I didn't really like this show, but wow, this is dark.
I like that movie a lot. We talked about it in the first one, but I really like that movie. I'm digging the music to this whole movie.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of atmosphere than the first one, but it's, I think, equally good.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm generally I'm terrible and I don't pay attention to like scores and things like that. So like I don't know if the person who did this is a famous Japanese composer or anything like that. I just don't pay attention to those things because I just don't care that much about music. Like if I hear a
That's
name
fair.
enough, like I know who Hans Zimmer is because we keep saying his name, but
Yeah. No, that's fair.
I wouldn't think to pay attention. It's just not something I pay attention to.
Well, it seems like especially with more horror influenced stuff, my enjoyment of it is directly correlated to how much I like the score.
Yeah.
Like, It Follows is nowhere near as scary as it is without that score.
I recently, not to keep, opening up old wounds, I recently saw your video about Batman v Superman. And Hello Darkness, My Old Friend is cut out of the end now.
I know! YouTube got rid of
It's
got rid
so
of it.
much more haunting when it's just a slow close-up on Ben Affleck.
That's hilarious. I didn't watch it without the music. I just know someone pointed out to me in the comments that they got rid of the music.
Yeah, just cut to the end of it and just watch the ending. It's so creepy. I thought it was intentional, and then the credit rolls up, Hello Darkness, My Old Friend. I was like, oh, he originally had music here, it's cut. It's way creepier this way. His cape is a sword.
That is cool. Everything had a weird pink tint a second ago. That was awesome. So, how... D cut him in half, and he's alive.
He's a vampire.
No, that's true. I just feel like...
It's anime.
Okay, that's fair. I was gonna say, like, if you wanted to kill him, why didn't you... You never a vampire. You know how to kill him. Why didn't you just decapitate him instead of cutting him in half?
Well, he just cut his face in half, right?
I thought he cut his entire body in half.
I thought it was just his face.
I wasn't sure. I'd have to go back and rewind at this point, but...
Well, that was like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, it's cool. This castle falling apart looks gorgeous.
One day, I wanna just have such an emotionally charged, sword fight that like my sword starts heating up for no reason.
I didn't understand that. I thought they were like giving off energy, but it's not Dragon Ball Z.
Okay, I didn't notice it before. Like I just saw it for like a split second. Layla has like bands on her arm.
Yeah.
And I don't know, they just look silly to me. They look like those people that have like all of those just bands on their arm. I don't know what they're called. I want to say silly bands, but that would date me. That was after my generation. That's already dated.
It is reminding me a little bit of Silly Band. No, it reminds me of the thing from the 80s where everyone had like 6 bracelets on their arms.
Yeah. Well, it was written in the 80s. Maybe they're just being accurate.
Maybe. Maybe it's in the book like that. Maybe there's a cover where she's got like 6 bands.
The book is like an arm's reach away from me. I could check, but it would require straining. Yeah, I can't reach that. Without readjusting my mic, I can't reach that. But the shot where Dee stabs Meyerlink through the chest, that's I know that's a direct illustration from the book.
Oh, okay, that's cool. I don't know if this is on purpose, but I love that both movies open in the middle of the night with a castle and then end with the castle falling apart in the sun.
That's got to be on purpose.
Maybe, but it's a good way to round out the story.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems really obvious, so maybe it is on purpose, but
Well, and I mean that's how Dracula ends.
yeah, that's true.
No, that's not how Dracula ends. That's how Dracula's
That's how
supposed
Bram
to end.
Stoker's Dracula ends.
But it's how the book was originally going to end. There's a whole
Oh, yeah.
thing where originally he wrote that the castle falls apart, and then
Yeah.
changed it in case he wanted to do a sequel that he never did.
There's lots of interesting extra notes by Bram Stoker about things in Dracula that would have been very different if it was published that way. There's like a collection of books of like Dracula what if stories based on the changes made.
Well, and one of the most interesting things about Bram Stoker's Dracula is that it is the only book he wrote that anyone cares about, and
Yep.
even that wasn't. One of the things about Dracula is that Dracula wasn't actually that popular until
Yeah.
the movies. Dracula is maybe the first instance of some things where like it genuinely is. Its movie counterparts are more well known than the book itself.
Yeah, it's a lot like I remember when Max Landis was talking about like how what people think is part of the Frankenstein movies is not actually there, so he wanted to make a movie that was what people thought it was. And Dracula had that a lot where like everything people associate with Dracula with because of the movies wasn't really there in the book.
Yeah, like Igor is not in neither the Frankenstein movie or the film.
Yeah. He comes from Monster Mash, doesn't he?
Um, I think he comes in Son of Frankenstein.
Was it Son of Frankenstein? Okay.
Yeah, because
Um,
he is played by Bela Lugosi, and he gets his
okay.
brain put inside the monster. And Bela Lugosi plays. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing with Bela Lugosi's ego and how he regrets not being Frankenstein. There's a whole story behind it. But I also haven't read that story recently, or like read up on that history recently. So somebody's going to correct
Right.
me, I'm sure.
Well, we've got a Universal Monster movie universe coming, so
Supposedly, although I give them a pass. They're the one people because they started it. They did it first.
well, I mean, Mummy is almost done filming, so
Oh,
I
is
mean,
it?
we're at least getting a
Oh,
second
cool.
one. Yeah, yeah. That's gonna have Tom Cruise and
And
then
it's
the
got a
lady.
lady mummy, right?
Yeah, it's got the lady from Kingsman
Oh,
as the
is she the
Mummy.
lady mummy?
Yep.
That's cool.
There's some set photos of her as the Mummy, and it actually looks pretty cool.
Oh, really? I haven't seen those. I'll have to look those up.
And then Javier Bardem is supposed to be Frankenstein, or Frankenstein's monster. That is.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Dracula. He'd be such a good Dracula.
I mean, he'd be good in a lot of things. He's another one of those actors that he'd be perfect for a lot of material.
Yeah.
Um, but we have lots of information, mostly rumors now, but lots of stuff's happening there. Like I know Johnny Depp's going to be the Invisible Man, and I know Russell Crowe's supposed to be Dr. Jekyll.
But who's Dracula?
Dracula is Luke Evans from Dracula Untold.
That's not confirmed.
No, no, that's how it's going to be. He's Dracula.
Oh, I thought when Dracula Untold came out, they're like, well, this isn't part of the movie universe, but if this is successful, we'll like make it part of the movie universe.
That movie went through so many changes where it was supposed to be part of the universe and then it suddenly stopped being part of the universe, and then at the end they added a scene with the guy that turned him into a vampire at the beginning of the movie to say now this is part of the universe, and the dude that turned Dracula into the vampire will be Universal Monsters version of Nick Fury, where he'll be like in every movie.
Oh, I was under the impression that they were like playing coy. We're like, well, if people really like this, it'll be the first film of the universe. And if people don't like it, it will not be. Because, like, let's be honest, like nobody liked that movie except for you. You know, you gave it 5 stars, but nobody else liked it. Like, you don't want that to be the first. You don't want like that's your Green Lantern. Like, you just ignore that movie.
Yeah, I guess so. I almost have more respect for them though if they can keep going with this universe and make that movie better in retrospect.
Yeah, well, I mean, I agree with you. I don't think it's awful. I don't think it's unwatchable.
No, I mean it's not what the reviews said it was. Where they said it was like the worst Dracula thing ever released. It's not.
No.
But we do have lots of like unconfirmed movies that have like writers and stuff attached. Like we are getting a Bride of Frankenstein movie before Frankenstein comes out, and we know the person that's writing that is the person that did Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit.
I didn't hate that movie.
I didn't hate it either. It's forgettable as hell.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's fine. But yeah, like there's just so much information about that universe,
Oh,
and we're
Jack
getting
Ryan Shadow Recruit, forgettable. Dracula Untold, masterpiece unparalleled.
that's getting a 2 hour analysis.
The philosophical implications of blinding your soldiers as they go into combat.
Exactly that. The movie's over, by the way.
Yes, it is.
We're at the credits now, and they are not in Japanese this time.
No, they're not, which is nice. But they're also just text on black screen.
Yeah, it's not even full font.
Yeah, my DVD has like a scratch or something on it, so there's a point near the end where it like started getting garbled, and I definitely went out of sync with you.
Oh, okay, well, that's fair.
But it was close to the end.
This was fun. I like this movie. I think.
Oh
the
man,
first one...
there's like 3 John DiMaggios. It's John DiMaggio, John DiMaggio, John DiMaggio.
He just plays everybody.
Yeah, I mean that's par for the course for John DiMaggio.
Yeah, I wish he was our new default Joker.
I don't need him to be our new default. I just want to let him do it again.
Yeah. Well, I want him and because Bruce Greenwood got cameos basically in Young Justice as Bruce Wayne. I want him to be a regular.
Yeah.
It'd be fun to pair up Bruce Greenwood and John DiMaggio as like the new set of Batman Joker dynamics for a while.
It'd be so much better than what we're getting right now. Although we don't have a Joker for this current DC film universe.
He hasn't appeared in anything yet, I don't think.
Yeah.
I guess that's coming. I bet you that they're going to announce an Endgame animated movie.
You think so?
Or it's going to be either Endgame or Death of the Family. They're going to do stuff because like every time we get to Comic-Con, they announce a new Batman movie and then like another animated Justice League movie. I bet you one of them is going to be another Snyder adaptation, and it's going to be Joker.
I'm fine with that. I like both Death of the Family and Endgame, and doing the two of them together would be better.
But would you want it from those people?
Not from those people, but you know.
No, I mean that's fair. It's just like I don't trust those people to do anything.
I wanted the Joker from the Young Justice people, and they let me down. Like that's not.
Their Joker was weird.
Yeah, it's Brent's.
I didn't like that line where he's like, I have practice from juggling my multiple personalities. That's too meta for the Joker.
Well, and he's all well. People write Joker like that a lot. Like I'm not gonna. My issue was that it was a bad Heath Ledger impersonation.
And it was the guy that plays Data that a lot of people wanted to be the Joker eventually.
Yeah. And I don't know if he decided to do a Heath Ledger impersonation or he was told to do Heath Ledger impersonation, but it was the wrong choice.
It was. But anyway, movie's over. This was fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this. Eric and I were talking about this. Apparently a lot of people liked that we were talking about anime movies and stuff. We're going to try and do some more. We said Wicked City and then Dragon Ball Z movies probably.
Yeah.
And it might be fun to just do some sort of like anime discussion thing at some point. I'm rewatching Cowboy Bebop if you want to like do a discussion on that at some point.
I think I own that. That would be pretty easy to... I think I own that. I'm not sure. Cowboy Bebop's hard to talk about because Cowboy Bebop has like 4 plot episodes and everything else is one-shots.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like Cowboy Bebop. I also really like Outlaw Star.
Yeah, Outlaw Star. I know Captain Logan has seen Full Metal Alchemist. We could do that at some point. Just talk about it.
That's because I bought him Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh, really? Okay,
yeah, I bought it for him.
The original or Brotherhood?
The original.
Okay.
And I still think he only watched like 3 episodes. I was like, oh yeah, this is actually pretty good, and then never went back to
it. I'll have to ask him about that. Eric, this was fun. Thanks for recommending it. I don't know if there's no other Vampire Hunter D stuff at all, right? Like, there's just 2 movies?
Yeah, there's 2 movies. Supposedly we're getting an animated series. There was almost a live-action movie in America. There are some manga adaptations of the books that are very accurate, but wow, the women in those books. It's drawn by a woman too, but those women, like when you think of the stereotypes of what like anime women look like, they are just insanely proportioned.
That's weird.
But they're like kind of just the someone working on this was named Dr. Movie. It says production in cooperation with Dr. Movie.
That's awesome.
But yeah, there's no other visual. Well, there's the video game. If you want to play a 2001 video game that nobody likes.
I mean, I guess I could see if I can find it. I don't know if I can find it anymore. I don't even have my old PlayStation hooked up.
Yeah, it'll probably cost you like 6 cents.
Well,
it'll either cost you 6 cents or it'll be like $500, and either way, you'll be paying too much money.
Maybe they put it on Steam and I can just download it on
my
PC.
doubt that. I doubt you they put it on Steam. No one cares about the Vampire D game. It's terrible.
Okay, I was just wondering in case there was anything else we wanted to cover, but we will eventually come back and do more anime. Until then, this was fun. Thanks for watching, everybody. Let us know what you think in the comments. And this was Eric.
And this was Steve.
Yep, and we will see you next time.